A drowning woman's desperate cries were answered by the unflinching bravery of a black man who risked his life to save hers. But instead of gratitude, she accused him of harassment, filing a police report that would shatter his world. Unbeknownst to her, the truth had been captured on video, a recording that would expose the depths of her prejudice and ignite a storm of controversy. What unfolded next revealed not just the injustice of her actions, but the resilience of a man determined to reclaim his dignity. You won't believe how this story ends, but let's start from the beginning. In a quiet suburban neighborhood where everyone knew each other and life moved at a slow pace, Karen decided to spend a summer afternoon at the lake. She wasn't much of a swimmer, but the warm sun and the calm water made her feel invincible. By the time she ventured a little further out, she thought she could handle it. But without warning, a strong current pulled her under. Panic surged as the water closed in around her. Desperately, she tried to swim back, but the current was too strong. At that moment, a tall, well-built black man named Marcus was walking along the shore, enjoying his afternoon jog. He saw her thrashing in the water, struggling to stay afloat. Without thinking, he sprinted to the edge, dove in, and swam toward her. As he reached her, she was barely conscious, gasping for air. He grabbed her and pulled her to safety, dragging her to the shore with all his strength. Marcus was breathless, soaked to the bone, his heart racing, but relieved that he had saved her. Karen, disoriented and still gasping for breath, looked up at him. Her eyes were wide with shock, and she managed to say a quick, "Thank you," before stumbling back to her feet. But something in her was unsettled. As she caught her breath and adjusted her wet clothes, Karen looked at Marcus again, a flicker of unease crossing her face. He was a stranger, a tall, black man with strong features and a confident posture. There was something about the way he had approached her, something she couldn't shake off. She thanked him again, but her tone had changed. It wasn't the gratitude she had shown at first. It was more of a strained politeness. Marcus, meanwhile, didn't think much of it. He didn't expect praise. He was just glad she was okay. He turned to leave, but before he could, he heard her voice again. "Wait here," she said, her voice tight. "I'm calling the police." The next morning, the local news buzzed with the story. Woman claims she was harassed by black man after drowning incident. Karen had filed a police report, claiming that Marcus had acted inappropriately during the rescue. According to her, he had touched her in a way that made her feel uncomfortable and violated. Though her version of the events was vague, the accusation was enough to set things into motion. Karen's words, though unsubstantiated, quickly spread through the small community. People were shocked, and many were quick to take her side. She was a well-known figure, a local teacher, respected by her peers. The idea that she could be harassed was unfathomable to many. Marcus, however, was blindsided. He couldn't understand why she would accuse him of something so vile when all he had done was save her life. He hadn't even thought about anything beyond making sure she was safe. But now, his name was being tarnished, and all the goodwill he had felt from helping her was turning into suspicion and doubt. The police arrived at Marcus's home to question him. He was calm, but his heart was racing. He knew that his word alone wouldn't be enough. He had been at the mercy of Karen's narrative. But something inside him told him that the truth would come out. As the police questioned him, Marcus's mind raced back to the day before. He remembered the odd look Karen had given him, the way she seemed to recoil from his assistance. It was as though the moment she was saved, everything changed for her. She had gone from thankful to accusing in the span of a few seconds. But what really gnawed at Marcus was the feeling of injustice. Why was it that his actions were being questioned, while Karen's had not? Why did his identity, his race, make his good deeds seem suspicious? Marcus's friends and family rallied around him. They knew him as a kind, compassionate man, someone who had never shown any ill intent toward anyone. His mother, especially, was a fierce advocate. "You know who you are," she told him, "and the truth will come out." Her support was his anchor, but the strain of the situation began to take a toll on him. But Marcus wasn't the only one facing challenges. Karen, too, was feeling the pressure. Her colleagues, neighbors, and friends had started questioning her version of events. Some were skeptical, wondering why she had waited so long to file the report, why her story seemed so inconsistent. Others quietly whispered about the race of the man who had rescued her, and how her reaction to him had seemed off. The turning point came when someone posted a video on social media. A bystander, who had been nearby when the incident occurred, had been recording a family picnic. When the video went viral, it quickly became clear that Marcus's actions had been nothing but heroic. The footage showed him diving into the water without hesitation, swimming to her, and pulling her to safety with no malicious intent. The camera never showed any inappropriate behavior, only the genuine concern of a man saving a woman's life. The video was undeniable. It was a raw, unfiltered account of what had really happened. As the video spread across social media, public opinion began to shift. People started questioning why Karen had filed a report at all, especially after the evidence was so clear. The more the video circulated, the more people began to wonder, had Karen misjudged the situation based on her own biases? The fallout from the video was swift. The police began to investigate the case more thoroughly, and Karen's initial accusations were scrutinized. As more people came forward with their own doubts, Karen found herself under increasing scrutiny. The supportive community she had once had started to fracture. Her friends and colleagues, who had initially believed her, began to distance themselves. The video, combined with Marcus's impeccable character, exposed the cracks in her story. Karen's emotional state began to unravel. The shame of having misjudged Marcus and the guilt of nearly ruining his life for her own misplaced fears was overwhelming. She hadn't realized how deeply her racial biases had clouded her judgment. It was only when she watched the video herself that the reality of what she had done hit her. She saw the fear in her own eyes as she was rescued, fear that had nothing to do with Marcus's actions and everything to do with her own preconceived notions. Meanwhile, Marcus had to navigate the complex emotions of being both a victim of racial prejudice and a man who had done something as simple as helping someone in need. The pain of being accused had cut deep, but the support of his family and the truth finally coming to light helped him begin to heal. In the end, Karen publicly apologized to Marcus, though it was a hollow gesture. The damage had already been done. Marcus, now with the support of a community that had witnessed the truth unfold, found a sense of peace. He knew that his integrity had remained intact throughout the ordeal. And as for Karen, her personal reckoning was only beginning, an awakening to the deep-seated biases that had led her to make a false accusation in the first place. The story ended with a final quiet reflection. The truth had set Marcus free, but it had also forced Karen to confront her own painful reality. The incident became a stark reminder of how systemic racism and personal prejudice could distort reality, how quickly perceptions could be clouded by fear, and how the truth, when it was uncovered, could never truly be hidden.